Hello, 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 and welcome to Walk Talk Health. Medical professionals these days consider aging as a disease. If you take the word disease and break it up, dis-ease, it means the body is not at ease. What causes this disease is primarily DNA damage and inflammation. As the channel name suggests, you and I are going to take an amazing walk today and talk health. Each one of these walk and talks will help with those two main causes of aging and significantly improve your health. If you combine the subjects we talk about on a series of these walks, it can have a huge effect on your health, well-being, longevity, and you really can live longer, healthier. Today we're at the beautiful Angel Island State Park. How do we get here today? On the Angel Island ferry. Check this out.
Be back at Tiburon in just about 10 minutes. Thank you for riding with the Angel Island Tiburon ferry.
Today we're going to be talking about fish oils, Omega3. There are two types that you may be familiar with. There are Omega3 fish oils and there is cod liver oil. They both contain Omega3, the only difference being that cod liver oil also contains vitamin A and vitamin D. Talking of vitamin D, I did a video recently and a couple of recent studies that I'd like to mention. The first one was over 10 years and 12,000 people. They found that people taking cod liver oil had a 40% reduction in dementia, which is pretty amazing. The second study, more recent, was done over 4 years, 10,000 people, and it looked at telomere lengths. Telomeres are these little kind of antennae that exist on the end of our DNA chains, and they gradually shorten over our lifespan. Think of it like a stick of dynamite with a fuse. When we're born, the fuse is lit and slowly it burns down. When it gets to the stick of dynamite, boom. Same with us. Once the telomeres get to zero, our body stops repairing, and shortly after that, we die. In this study, they discovered that people taking D3 over the 4-year period actually reduced the telomere shortening by 3 years. I'll leave a link to that full video on vitamin D and how it helps the body at the end of this video. We're here at the US Immigration Center where Europeans and Chinese settlers came. It's beautiful, situated on the bay. You can see where the boats would have come in and they would have docked. This bell is here to commemorate it. It says US Immigration Station, Angel Island, California, 1910, and the bell still works. That's the immigration processing building, and then up there, not that you can see it, there's actually a museum which is well worth a visit. There are essentially 3 types of fatty acids that we need to consume. There are ALA, EPA and DHA. ALA we get from plant-based consumption, things like walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds, avocado. Our body can convert ALA into the EPA and DHA that our body needs. However, those food sources are pretty low in ALA, and therefore the amount of EPA and DHA that we can obtain from that process is pretty low. In addition, as we get older, our body's ability to convert ALA into those other important fatty acids reduces over time. other ways to get those important omega-3 fatty acids into our body. And primarily there's two sources: supplements and fatty fishes. And we're going to discuss that in more detail as we walk around this beautiful island. So why do we care about omega-3 fatty acids? Well, let's start with a big one. In a long-term study, people looked at the omega-3 index. A simple blood test will tell you where you are on this scale. The majority of people are 4 on the scale, that's 4%. And ideally, you want to be at least 8%. In this study, they discovered that people that were 8% or higher actually on average lived 5 years longer. That's quite considerable. And if that doesn't pique your interest into omega-3 fatty acids, then maybe stop watching the video right now. If it has, there is way more to tell you on this amazing fatty acid compound. How were those 5 extra years on average achieved? Well, based on the amazing role that omega-3 fatty acids play within our body for both repair and healing. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned about the new vitamin D studies and how they help the brain and things like dementia. DHA, one of the 3 fatty acids I mentioned, plays a crucial role in brain health. In our brain we have neurons. They are the mechanism by which all parts of the brain communicate. They fire electrical signals to the right part of the brain in terms of the function it's trying to carry out. Those neurons have a protective membrane because they're that vital to brain function. They need that protection. Well, inside that membrane, 25% of the fat that makes up the membrane is actually DHA. It protects it from things like inflammation, and the majority of it is in the frontal lobe. That's where we process memory recall, concentration, the things that as we get older we associate with dementia. Moving from the brain to the eyes, the retina, the part of the eye at the very back that processes the photons of light that enter our eye into the picture and the visuals that we see, is also protected by a layer of fat. And 65% of the fat that protects the retina is actually made up of DHA. So the taking of these omega-3 fatty acids protect the brain, and they protect the eye and stops things like macular degeneration. Even at the cellular level, these omega-3 fatty acids play a vital role. They help the health and integrity of the membrane of every cell in our body. In the case of red blood cells, the food that we eat extracts with the help of the friendly gut. Another video I made on the subject releases both minerals and vitamins. For those vitamins and minerals to make it into the cell, there has to be a healthy membrane, and it actually helps the nutrients pass into the very cell of the body. And DHA itself exists inside the cell as well as in the membrane of each cell. Talking of nutrients, our bones not only need calcium to be strong and healthy, they need nutrients. And again, DHA, omega-3 fatty acids play a vital role in allowing and helping the bone to absorb those all-important minerals. The skin is one of the largest organs, if not the largest organ in our body. Again, a vital role of these fatty acids is to help it keep smooth and youthful looking. They also protect us from UVA, even though we need UVA to produce vitamin D, as I explained in the previous video. Again, I advise you and recommend you check that one out. We also need some protection from UV because we know that causes DNA damage, and we know it can lead to things like skin cancer. It also helps us avoid things like acne, psoriasis, and also eczema, which is a big one. A lot of people, poor people, suffer from eczema. Moving inside the body, we move to the all-important organ of the liver. Fatty acids help protect this from building up fat. You've probably heard the term fatty liver. They help scar tissue from forming, and generally it helps with inflammation and keeping the liver healthy, which is important because the liver obviously cleans our blood for us. Omega-3 fatty acids, DHA, EPA, also help with regulating blood sugar levels so we don't get those spikes. Now that's important because when the body produces insulin to bring down those blood sugar levels to make sure that we don't get thickened blood that can cause clots, that insulin itself is inflammatory. The other thing that the fatty acids do is they protect the inner lining of our blood vessels, and they help blood move more smoothly through the body, which in effect reduces blood pressure. Blood pressure reduction generally, and other videos have covered this topic, is very important because when you get a contraction of the blood vessels, it means that the blood moving through them is being compressed, and it makes it more likely that things will get stuck to the inner lining of the blood vessels. That in turn can lead to things like calcium build-up, which can cause things like calcification of the arteries, leading to heart attacks and strokes if some of that calcium breaks off into the bloodstream. Omega-3 fatty acids also help with things like arthritic joint pain, and perfect for a sunny day like this with plenty of pollen in the air, helps with allergy symptoms. For those younger viewers to this video, you might be interested to know that omega-3 fatty acids help with the health of sperm and also the egg. So if you're planning a family, you might want to make sure you boost your omega-3. And finally, generally, these omega-3 fatty acids, they help with overall immune system responses. So it's no wonder, with all these health benefits, reduction of inflammation, DNA repair, etc., we talked about at the beginning of this video, that these omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA in particular, can help people live on average 5 years longer. Wow. In the distance you can see Tiburon and the bay. The ferry in fact came from over there, where you can see the sailing boats in the background. This walk around Asia Island is a 5-mile loop. If you go right to the very apex, there's a 781 feet elevation. To get to the walking trail that we've taken today, it's around about 500 feet. People out enjoying their speedboats in the harbour. It's really calm because we're inside the harbour, so it must be great fun to be on one of those. So this is when I ask for your help. A big ask, but would you please like, subscribe and comment on this video. This channel is not monetized in any way. It's here to try and help others start their journey into living longer, healthier. If you really can, try and share the video. That helps even more. Help reach other people that might benefit from the subjects we discuss on these walk and talks. Either way, I thank you in advance for your help. Thank you. Dotted around this island, there's a lot of historic old buildings, most of which no longer used. A couple of them have been restored, so you can go inside and see what it was like to be in them back in the day. They date all the way back to the beginning of the 1900s, and the island was used by the Navy in the the First World War and Second World War, and where we're coming up to now is a place called Camp Reynolds. That's Camp Reynolds down there. The nice thing about this trail, even though it is on a road surface for a lot of it, unless you get off to go look at buildings and what have you, that does make it good for larger parties. You can walk side by side and talk and chat and enjoy the walk and not have to walk one in front of each other, which makes conversation very difficult. You can take one of those around the island if you don't want to walk it. The nice thing about it is they run every about 20 minutes, so you can hop on, hop off if you want to look around an area and then just wait for the next tram to come around. One of the best views of the San Francisco skyline, the Bay Bridge we're looking at now, Treasure Island, there's the skyline, and then panning over to the right we get to see our favourite, we call it GG, Golden Gate. Just unbelievably beautiful, spectacular views from here. Okay, so we've established how important omega-3 and fatty acids are. So where do we get the sources for this? The first choice is through supplementation, taking a capsule. If you're looking at those, there are a few things to consider. First of all, you want to try and get the triglyceride form of omega-3. It's easier absorbed and utilized by the body. You don't want to be buying the cheaper versions of this because there's a good chance it will be oxidized and will taste pretty unpleasant and therefore will not do those health benefits. Typically, when you look at those capsules, those gel capsules, they should be pretty clear. And if you want to test what they taste like, if you bite into them, it should taste fishy, but not too fishy. If it doesn't taste fishy at all, there's probably no omega-3 in it. But it doesn't want to taste over fishy or rancid, because now it means they've oxidized and you need to throw them away. If you want to get them from natural sources, then we're looking at cold water sea sources. The reason for that is the fish like mackerel, herring, salmon, pollock, they consume things in the ocean, plankton, things that are actually rich in these omega-3s. Therefore, look to see that the omega-3 has been sourced from wild caught fish. If you're looking for animal sources, grass feeding animals that produce cheese or yogurt from also have a source of omega-3, but it's much lower than consuming it from the fish. Also test to see whether the supplement, if you're going to supplements, have been third-party tested and tested for things like heavy metals, mercury, etc., that are very bad for our brains. Okay, so let's do the usual recap. Firstly, I point out, I don't know if you can see it, but Alcatraz is in the distance there. That's an amazing trip to do if you've not done it. My wife and I have done it probably 7 or 8 times, showing friends and relatives around it, but it never gets boring. So the recap. We know that, crucially, people with an omega-3 index of 8 and above typically live 5 years longer than the average person who only has a measurement of 4. We know it helps brain health. We know it helps the retina in the eye. We know it helps prevent damage to the liver and inflammation to liver, fatty liver disease. We know that it's good for helping the blood move through our blood vessels and therefore reducing blood pressure. We know it controls insulin sensitivity by leveling out the amount of glucose in our body. We're trying to avoid that insulin spikes, because insulin is inflammatory. We know that omega-3 fatty acids can help with things like sperm health, egg health. It helps with rheumatoid arthritis pain. We know it helps the skin look smooth and youthful. And generally, it's good for our immune system. It also helps the cell membrane of every cell in our body, so it helps those cells take in the minerals and the vitamins that we get from the food that we eat. I hope you've enjoyed this walk and talk and found it useful. I hope more than anything I've convinced you to look into omega-3 and to start supplementing or eating fish. Personally, I'd recommend you do both. Join me next time when I'm going to be talking about shock proteins. That's heat shock proteins, cold shock proteins, and how they help the repair of the body. If you want to check out the video I did on vitamin D and the important health benefits that that has, that I mentioned earlier in the video, I'd ask you to check out this video here. I think you're going to enjoy it and get a lot of benefit from it.